Welcome to the RavenFist YouTube channel. I first encountered Sinistar in a local Aladdin's Castle, a large chain of arcades that existed through the US from 1974 to 1989. Every Saturday, my parents would go to the mall. I loved going to the mall only because of Aladdin's Castle. It was a dark cave of wonders filled with loud electronic sounds and bright flashing lights. As part of our weekly mall excursion, my parents would give me $3 to spend at the arcade. I'd feed my dollar bills to the square machine and it would spit out a pile of tokens in a large jingly sound that cast a magic spell. With these golden coins, I could play any game in the place I wanted. Because of the 1980s video game boom, Aladdin's Castle was always getting new cabinets, and that meant they were constantly rearranging the place. One Saturday, I was making my way through the labyrinthine structure of Aladdin's Castle, looking for my favorite game, Atari's Star Wars. I loved that vector graphics game, and still do to this day. It was always the first game I sought out at Aladdin's Castle, but since they were constantly getting new cabinets, I never knew where it was going to be found. While trying to figure out where they moved Star Wars for that week, I heard a terrible electronic voice call out, "Beware, I live." I didn't know what that was, and I didn't want to know what that was. I sped up my walk, resisting the urge to break into a run, but determined to leave the vicinity of whatever made that terrible noise. I remember subsequent Saturdays at Aladdin's Castle hearing, "I hunger," and each time, I left, speedily. I remember wanting to play the arcade cabinet Punch-Out with its crazy dual-monitor setup, but it was too close to that screaming digital voice, so I let it be. One week I decided that I needed to face my fears. With my golden tokens in hand, I slowly wandered through the arcade, waiting to hear that voice. When I heard it, I couldn't immediately tell which game it was coming from. I had to linger and draw closer each time one of those ghoulish catchphrases was said. It was like the worst game of hot and cold ever. Finally, I discovered the source of my fear, Sinistar. I remember an older kid playing it. I kept my distance and watched, not sure what was happening on the screen. Finally, the game shouted, "Beware, I live," and this giant demon spacehead flew on the screen and devoured the player's spaceship. Luckily, my arcade only had the upright version of Sinistar. Had it been the cockpit version with dual speakers, I don't think I ever would have sat down to play that game. Instead, I remember putting my token in the machine and flying around and shooting things. It seemed to me to be a really fast version of Asteroids, if Asteroids ended with the devil stealing your soul and mocking you. After about 30 seconds, Sinistar was alive and I was being hunted. He ate my ship, and even though I had a few more lives to that token, I walked away. My heart was pounding, palms were sweating, and I had the vague feeling that Sinistar was better than me. I think that's what the game wants you to feel. My ship was nothing to Sinistar. Barely a meal, barely a blip to remember. I had no Cinnabons. At that time, I didn't even know what a Cinnabomb was. I posed no threat. That was the end of my Sinistar career for many, many years. In my late teens, MAME became a thing, and I found myself with thousands of arcade games on my home PC. Aladdin's Castle was long gone by this time. I had grown up in that place. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game came and went. The X-Men arcade game came and went. I spent a small fortune playing Street Fighter II. After that, things started to dwindle. New games didn't show up that often. Old games fell into disrepair. The 3 conjoined mall spaces that made up Aladdin's Castle dwindled to 2, and then 1, and then nothing. Today, that spot that used to be the entrance to Aladdin's Castle is now a Chinese food restaurant, not even a good one. I digress. I discovered Sinistar as a MAME ROM. At first, I didn't recognize the name, but when I heard, "I hunger," it all came rushing back to me, and suddenly I was that little kid standing in Aladdin's Castle about to pee myself in fear. This time I was older, wiser, more experienced in the ways of video games. And after 30 seconds of flying around, Sinistar came and ate my ship like it was nothing to him. Barely a meal, barely a blip to remember. I know my place. No matter how many first-person shooters I conquer, how many JRPGs I beat, Sinistar can and will rip me apart without a second thought. Run, coward! Thanks for watching. Check out the YouTube channel for more video game analysis and information about the games that we make. You can find more information about us at RavenFist.com. Until next time.